All right, I think we're live again. Hey, sorry about that. If you guys are trying to catch me on the last couple of streams, some technical difficulties, and it worked out. I was slurring my speech and didn't have any complete thoughts anyway. So today we're diving into vocals. We got a pop song. If you are new here to the Mix Academy, the last couple videos, my man David Baltavari, a client of mine, allowed me to share the mix breakdown with you here on the channel. And so we're going to talk, we already broke down the drums, the production, the bass, the low end, a lot of the mix bus, that kind of stuff. So if you want to see that, I'll put a link in the description to those videos. And then today we're talking vocals. So I'm going to hit play, let you guys hear a little bit of it, see if it's something you want to learn from. And then if you're interested in learning how to mix modern worship and gospel, that's what we're going to be focusing on here on the channel. And then we're going to be mix pop, rock, everything inside the Mix Academy's VIP membership. But for now, we're working on this pop song. And so let's hit play, and then we'll go from there. All right, sweet. So we heard a bit of it, and now we're going to break it down. So we got a little bit different system with this song than I typically use. I just started kind of stacking plugins. It's not often that I'm sent a vocal that has been recorded with compression, and you can clearly hear it was either recorded with it or processed with compression and then printed. And so we still had some lifting to do, quite a bit, but it was very much an even performance. So really just kind of taking it to the finish line here. So let's solo the vocal maybe at this intro. Probably let's do the main lead vocal first. So we're going to go to the hook, and we're going to show you what's going on. So first, out of the gate, we just said, I mean, look at that. It's pretty consistent, right? So we know that there's some evening out of the dynamics. I don't think she had that great of microphone technique. So let's take a listen with no processing, and then we'll throw it all in. Oh, you know what? My effects were all off right then.
Elfáradtam az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem. Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen, minden fájó emléket megértettem.
Okay, so there's the dry, and then in solo it's going to sound terrible, but let's go ahead and play it for you.
Elfáradtam az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem.
So what do? Well, we're smashing it more. Got that kind of grippy tone. We're going to show all of the plugins and everything. Don't worry. But just kind of thinking through what's going on here. Top end, right? We're getting this vocal to sit on top. The air, and then controlling the sibilance against that. So still had our work cut out for us to get this to sit in the mix. But hopefully you hear that it was somewhat tolerable in solo. But now in the context, let's hear all that compression on again.
Csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem. Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen, minden fájó emléket megértettem. Elfáradtam.
Yeah, so now let's hit play and let's hear it without the plugins. I'll even turn the effects off. Actually, you know what? I'll leave the effects in, and then I'll balance the vocal up a little bit.
Elfáradtam az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem. Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen, minden
Yeah, so you can clearly hear it popping a little bit. Some of these lines, I mean, you can even see them. So they're standing out. So the compression's obviously just smashing it, sitting it even. But printed, surely, I think we got some comments in here. What's up, guys? Vocal sound amazing. I appreciate that, man. Is it? I don't want to say your name wrong, but is it Sikko? Forgive me, man. I probably just butchered that. What's up, guys? Tell me where you're hanging out from. Where are you guys coming from? Let's talk about these vocals. So first up, we have a CLA 76. Why? I like that it's got the ability to be hit really hard and not suck. Let's just be real. And I like to hit it with a lot of compression. And then you always dial back the mix knob. Here I just dialed in what I wanted. I think I was just getting it pretty spitty. Let's see. Am I wrong or am I just doing transients here? And I tell you what, for this exercise, let's go in solo and let's go one at a time and we'll turn all the effects off so we can really shape it, hear what's going on, and then for educational sake, we'll do that. And then for context, we'll check it against a track. And so we'll just spend some time on this lead vocal here. If you guys are down, let me know in the chat if you're with me for this. Let's see. We got CLA 76. Here's off.
Elfáradtam az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem. Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen.
Got a little dip or something going on right there. But okay, so right out of it's spitty. Probably too spitty, but we're going to address that. But yeah, aggressive, and it gets it up front. What are our settings here? So we're going a little more in your face, right? So we're really just trying to smear this vocal and get it to sit. And then we go to an EQ. This is before I had the Pro Q4. It's an older mix, but pretty common. High pass filter, controlling the lows. Often I'll compress against the lows with a shelf like this. This time we just use an EQ. There was something bothering me around 500 hertz or so, and then that top end that got kind of spitty, I compressed against it here. That's the first stage of compressing against the top end. I'll show you. There's a couple instances of that. But pretty straightforward with this. It's not a whole lot of, I call it often, I'll have a spaghetti mess of EQ where, you get someone tracks in a closet, you get the comb filtering or whatever's going on. And so you're hunting for stuff and pulling things out. And by the end of it, you just have this thing. It's kind of like, oh, maybe something there. But then it's like, oh, it reveals that. And this is a day in the life of me, even with most mixes. This particular song, it was tracked better than most. And with that, we're moving on to the next plugin, which was more compression. It was just a little bit, but typically I'll send to a bus, a parallel bus in Pro Tools. Here I just used the mix knob on the distressor, and it even sounded like it may have tracked with. If David, I don't know if you're here hanging out with us. What's up, Joey? What's up, Melvin? Appreciate you guys hanging out, man. Fanny. Oh, man, I appreciate that. Oh, man, that's incredible. I appreciate you hanging out. So, yeah, so the parallel processing I usually do on a bus, and then I can EQ it, and I feel like I have more tone shaping ability when I do it on the bus. And then what I'll do is often send that lead vocal, the parallel bus, to the lead vocal level track. We've shown that a couple times on the channel. But for this one, we're doing a little bit different. We're doing it in the box with the mix knob here on the distressor. So let's hear this one. Here's in, and then I'll take it out.
Elfáradtam az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem. Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen, minden fájó.
Okay, so this is our, we're starting to get a little bit risky here with boosting so much top end, but you're going to see how we control that here in a minute. It's going to work out, trust me, it's going to be okay. But that's a little bit ridiculous in solo. Let's actually hear these three plugins. So we got the compression. Again, that's the mix knobs at 26%. Just blending that, thickening it up a bit. And then air, top end. And usually I go to a Kush Clariphonic, but this stuff worked great too. And let's see, or actually the Isotope has been my latest. Shout out to Doug Weir telling me about the Isotope Exciter and using the harmonic saturation on the top band for that just pristine air on a vocal that just love it. Love what it does. Saturation and smooths it out a bit. So here, let's hear what we did here, and then we'll turn it off in context.
Elfáradtam
So certainly I took it from being dark, muddy, and not really fitting the song to being that pop, airy, beautiful quality on top. However, it's a little bit harsh. It's a little bit crazy. But again, stay with me. So now we got a couple of processing to deal with that. So first up, the sibilance. At the time of mixing this record, I was using the Pro DS. Now the good people over at, man, I forget the company name, but Split S is my go-to de-esser. It's so weird to say that I've bounced de-essers the last couple of years. I went from the Pro DS to loving the Lindell 902 based on the DBX, I think, right? And then from that to Split S. And actually, there's another one I'm going to show you that's great for managing the sibilance when it's in a lower register, but you don't want to use traditional de-essing. I'm going to show you that here in a second. But let's take a listen. Pretty straightforward here. Just finding, I like to loop a section of the song. Just answered someone's Facebook post this morning. I was just kind of chilling over breakfast with my wife and saw someone posted about I think he works in the film. Luke over on Facebook was talking about working in film mostly, I think, and then he was now doing music, and he just was asking about de-essing and shared some thoughts. You find you a section that, let's go ahead and do that. Let's find a section where we got multiple S's in a phrase. I mean, the whole thing almost, right? I mean, that's like a gold mine for setting up the de-esser. I'm such a dork. I'm not going to apologize for it. You guys are hanging out. You're going to get the full audio nerd. So now we got a loop, tons of S's, and I'm very excited about that, clearly. And then we're going to play and show you what the de-esser is doing. And then I don't know why it didn't loop it for us. Was the loop playback? Weird. Okay.
Az életben csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem. Az életben.
So it's pretty aggressive, right? And so what we're doing is we're 6K and kind of 6K to 14K. It could just be up, but taming that quite a bit. I've been very aggressive with the EQ boost, and then now we've got to either dial that back or we got to backtrack and figure out another way to get some top end that's not harsh. But then this guy comes and saves the day because it was a little bit harsh still. And I would call this the world's best de-esser preset. I've seen this throughout the years a couple of times. I believe it was, who showed? Was it Joey? Joey, did you tell me? I don't know who told me about this, but Colt Caparoon, I think, had a video on it. Lots of people have talked about it online. It's just a great technique. You get the FabFilter Pro MB, one of my favorite compressors. And then you set these two bands here. And so you have typically, where's your de-essing going to live? It's it could be maybe as low as like 2 or 3K, but it's kind of 4 or 5 and up, right? And so oftentimes we'll use one de-esser on like that mid, lower, upper mid range, if that makes sense. We'll use a de-esser there and focus on that frequency range. And then I'll use a different de-esser for a high shelf and have that. This gives you both in one. And it has a trick up its sleeve. Check this out. So this first band here, the top band, is going to react to itself. That stuff up there, it's going to push down based on the threshold that I send. But over here in the 4K range, we still have some like 3K and stuff. We can even back this off more. If I wanted to push down sibilance or sharp high-frequency transients with this band here, I have no way to do it. It's just going to react to anything, the threshold. And because the important stuff in the vocal lives in this vocal range, frequency range, I don't want the multi-band compressor to react to itself, its own range here. I want it to react to a different frequency range. And so what I've done is I've set it to expert mode here, go to free, choose that option. Instead of band, you go to free, and then you can drag these and place them where you want. And so I'm having this frequency range here. The compressor is going to react to this frequency range. And so for this band 2, it's going to react up here. And so where this also could be cool is you may have like, let's say you have a master or your 2-bus and you want to address maybe the click in the kick drum. Too much snap, too much attack. Maybe what you would do is set an upper band here in the realm of 2 to 7, 10K, whatever's happening in the kick drum. And let's say you want to push that down, but you don't want it to react to all the information up here, the cymbals, the snare, the vocal, everything. You just want it to react to the kick drum. Just take this down here and set whatever it is, wherever the fundamental of the kick drum's hitting, and make this band up here only react when the subs of the kick are hitting. So just a couple of applications for you for using this, so you know it's not just a one-trick pony. It's certainly relevant. So, hey, if you guys are still hanging out in the chat, man, let me know. You got any questions? I'm going to hit play. We're going to listen to this. We'll call it the world's best de-esser plugin, and let's see if it's doing anything important. Here's in, and then we'll take it out.
Az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem. Az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem.
Okay, it may be hard to hear sibilants sticking out in solo, and so what I like to do is make sure I always check in context with everything so that we can hear. Often you'll hear, especially if you're paying attention to it. If you're not listening to the song, if you're listening for the sibilants, you're going to hear the sibilants. Go check out Kelly Clarkson's Christmas album from however many years ago. I listened to it. I was like, oh man, the sibilants were just taking my head off. Anyways, let's check it out and see in context, does this make a difference?
Az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem.
Okay, so it's not bad without it, but I think we can tighten it up, make it a little warmer. And so here's with it.
Az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem. Az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor.
So pick your taste, which one you like better, but now you're at least equipped with the technique and you can take that and use it. So next up in the vocal chain, so that goes to all vocals from there. We turned all the effects off. Let's go ahead and put those back in. And we're going to show off what we have going on here with and without the vocal effects. It's a massive difference without them. And let's see if I turn all of them off. We'll listen to the mix with all of the effects off, and then we'll go one by one. I'll show you the settings, how I'm layering them, all of it.
Elfáradtam az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem. Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen, minden fájó emléket megértettem. Elfáradtam az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem. Megtanultam.
So again, man, starting with a good source, not something that I get to do often, unfortunately. And then even with, I mix a ton of live gospel, modern worship stuff. With that stuff, a lot of the time, it's not retracked. The stuff is coming to me, and so I'm dealing with bleed and the vocalist moving around on the stage, and then you got drums on one end, and it can be a mess. Dr. Toomey, shout out, love his stuff. Actually mixing a new Toomey single this week, next week. So we'll show that probably here on the channel as well. So if you're interested in seeing that, definitely subscribe. Let's see, we got any questions? Anybody? No, just hanging out? No problem. If you guys want to see anything else, let me know. So, or if I show something, you have a question about it, would love to, and especially Fanny, since this is yours, I would love to answer your questions. Okay, cool. So the effects, I have a series of modulation effects. I think I did custom effects on this song. Usually I have a template just full of different modulation, time-based effects, your delays, all that kind of stuff. For now, for this song, excuse me, I think I pulled up and was like, hey, let's build something new. So we've got lead mod 1 is the meta flanger, and it's set to the pensado flange. Give a shout out to Dave Pensado. I do not think I know I wouldn't be where I am without pensado. Certainly wouldn't have been as direct of a path if it weren't for the early days of Pensado's place, man. So much gold in those early episodes. I used to have the legal pads just full of notes from getting sidetracked here. Okay, so meta flanger, and we're using this. This should be full, 100% wet on the mix. And let's solo the vocal out so we can hear what that texture is adding. I tell you what, let me make all these inactive and we'll build it like a house here. So here's in. We'll exaggerate it,
Elfáradtam az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem. Megtanultam, nincsen véle.
Okay, so I exaggerated it there so you can really hear what's going on. Gentle chorusing, flanging, phasing can all be really cool ways to give the vocal a kind of a pop sheen, if you will, that kind of silky texture that comes with that.
Elfáradtam az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem.
Cool. So that's lead mod number 1. I'll tell you, we'll make that inactive and we'll show off each one individually.
Elfáradtam az életben, csak az Isten tudja.
And that one I don't even think is in the session. Where is lead mod 2? It happens sometimes, especially working with a template. Sometimes you import like a vocal or something. I don't know what happened here, but lead mod 2 does not appear to be in the session. Lead mod 1, maybe I deleted it. Maybe I didn't like it and I just forgot to turn the send off.
Elfáradtam az életben, csak az
Yep, that one is not being used. And then we have a side chain. We'll come back and talk about that. Let's talk about our dark delay.
Elfáradtam az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem. Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen.
Cool. Just supporting, adding some ambience without soaking her in reverb. And then in addition to the delay, we do, I think, send it to a reverb. We'll look at that as well. But yeah, those are the settings. 8th delay on the left, 8th delay on the right with a dotted on the right. It's my favorite delay. Dotted 8th on the left and 8th on the left, dotted 8th on the right. There you go. I almost always use the stock delay in Pro Tools, and then I stack plugins to try to create something unique. I try to give each artist something that's got a little bit of character or time putting into to shaping the vocal, so it's not just the same stuff all the time. But there you go, dark and darker. And so just taking out the mid-range. Let's hear this without the EQ.
Elfáradtam az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem. Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen, minden fájó.
Cool. So definitely serving as like a dark, almost a dark room kind of vibe. Short verb. And we'll turn that one on, and then we'll show off our lead throws. We got some delay throws. We also got some comments. What do we got going on here? Right on. How you manage the vocal width image, the stereo image there. And then Joey said best de-essing is manual. Yeah, Joey's right. The clip gain is great. And I still, even when using de-essers, it seems like you always have to go in. What did I do here? It looks like I pulled the breaths down with clip gain, but not the S's. I've got those locked in pretty good, I think. But at the cost of, so the trade-off with how much compression we did. Okay, so where are we at before I get on an autistic rant here? We got the dark delay, and then we have the lead throws. I don't say that to make fun of myself, really. I'm not even to make fun, but recently, we'll talk about that in another video. Let's see what we got here with these lead throws. Right there, bam, and it's similar. We got the same thing, except this one we are not darkening as much. So we still have the phaser going on, the kilohertz. You get that with the Slate digital bundle. And then we have just compressing against that. I must have heard something that I didn't like. And so let's hear the lead throws. Let's go grab that fader. And we'll show the automation on this. There we go. So it's out here. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool, huh? Let's hear another time when we've used this. I think I did I did the throw, so I did the mute automation to unleash it, but then I also rode the fader, I think, in a couple of spots. I just pulled it up a little bit. So let's find, that's on a different vocal. Cool.
Soha nem térdeltem.
So this vocal is actually, this one's going to the lead vocal as well. Okay, so we have some processing here where I'm changing the character of the vocalist, Fanny, between the different sections. And so here we've got some saturation, did a different chain. So we've got kind of a telephone effect going on, taking the band pass. Let me show this first so you can see where I started from. We built it like a house here. We're going to go to the telephone preset. Where's that one at? Right there, phone. Okay, and so I started with this, and then pull both of these up on the screen. And then looks like I backed off the high-pass filter a little bit, maybe, something like that, and then took this away so that we're not taking out the top end. We actually boosted some more top end on this track, and then we're compressing against the kind of harshness here. 3 to 5K can get really harsh, and then because of the tight filters that we're boosting with, the Qs are a little tighter. That's going to really emphasize that kind of telephony effect, but still maybe be usable with the in the full track. Now, the something I also do here is I'll grab the mix knob on the Pro Q. Not a lot of people know that that's there, but down there, and you can say you like that. Here I did full 100%, but let's say it was a little bit much. You can kind of back it off to whatever, right, to taste, and you'll still get some of that nasally like forwardness. But yeah, there you go. So that was kind of the method behind the madness of this EQ. And then we followed that up with, let's get rid of this one so we don't double dip. And then we're hitting it with saturation. And so I'm doing that in stages. And so this vocal was already pretty compressed. So we got some saturation, compression. Usually I saturate on the back end, which is what this one was. But let's go one at a time here. We'll turn it off, solo, and come back to the effects.
Soha nem térdeltem.
So this is getting all of the processing we already walked through and this additional instance of saturation and whatnot.
Soha nem térdeltem. Soha nem térdeltem.
Right on. Okay, so that is the dry. And then with our EQ, off and then on.
Soha nem térdeltem. Soha nem térdeltem.
Okay, so super nasally and almost whiny and not complimentary in the current state. But once we saturate it, I think you're going to hear it's and distort it and compress it and all of that. It's going to bring back some of the lows that we've cut, and it's going to kind of deal with some of that. But then if I turn this off, we'll see if it made a difference. So here's with now the saturation in stages, heavy compression, more saturation, and then backing off the gain substantially. Let's hear this one in, and then we'll take it out. And you know what? It's not fair to play it like that. Let's put all of the compression and EQ in with this.
Soha nem térdeltem. Soha nem térdeltem.
So clearly I didn't want clean, pure, and pristine in this section. So we added that. Let's check it in context.
Soha nem térdeltem. Soha nem térdeltem.
Okay, that's with no effects or anything. So pretty dry, but let's turn this stuff off.
Soha nem térdeltem. Soha nem térdeltem.
It's okay, but it's not married to the track, right? It's not matching the intimacy of that section. And so kind of thinning it out, giving it a tone, making sure the air is crisp, but that it's still, I don't know, it feels like this worked.
Soha nem térdeltem. Soha nem térdeltem.
And then if we turn our effects on, I think it works even better. We'll back it up a little bit.
Rosszat mindig megéreztem, más előtt soha nem térdeltem.
Right on. So it's a little bit risky, maybe. It's a little bit fancy, but I think it worked to do that. And so, yeah. Kevin, what's up, brother? And then, forgive me, I did not talk about the vocal width image. I will talk about that. We're going to talk about the buses, and it'll explain how I'm approaching vocals and stereo width. We'll cover that for sure. The frequency of vocal should be mono and stereo. And then right on. What's up, guys? Hanging out. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And is it Apollo Joy? Yeah, we'll hit that. We'll talk about that. Cool. Okay, so this vocal, little more character, making sure don't just mix your vocals unless the song's calling for it. But man, the verse, the chorus, the bridge, give them different tone, character. You can have the same general, compression and squashiness if you want to call it that. But man, I would love to start seeing more mixes come my way for critique from students that have and take risks. Man, boost like crazy, cut like crazy, do what you need to find. If you don't explore it, you don't know what's there. And so, be bold when you're mixing. So what else can we look at here with the vocals? We need to go through all this for my man David and Fanny here. Let's come back up to the top and see. So we have our stacks, we have our double triples, we've got those licks, the hook, we talked about those. We've got this one here. What was this one? So here, I am using that same sound that this would be if I turn this processing off that we just talked about. It's just too dry there. Here it works. But then out here, right on. So you can clearly hear the full tone down here and then the thinned out tone up there. What else do we want to talk about? We were looking at delay throws. Let's go show the actual settings on these. We talked about that. The dark delay was the same, 1/8 on the left, dotted 1/8 on the right. Here's our verb. We have the intro vocal verb. We'll break down. Cool. I think I created that. I copy and pasted that. I may be wrong. They may have done that. I don't remember. It's been a minute. But nonetheless, let's talk about the processing. So that verb, let's see. I thought we did a reverse verb, but okay. And then if we turn everything off, yeah, exactly. Cool. So you can search on YouTube and show you how to set up a reverse reverb. I'm just going to break down the settings of what I've got going on with this one. We're pulling out some mids on it. We're slapping CLA vocals on, try to get something quickly. Gives us some cool sounds. We get the verb and the slap delays to give it some width. Then we over here have more compression and saturation. Quite a bit. And then compressing against the top end, making sure that mid-range didn't overwhelm when it swelled in. More phaser, I was digging that one. More corrective EQ, and the shimmer. And I think that's just on, the mono and bright. So, one more time with nothing on it. And then with everything, the verb. So I'm moving pretty quick with that one, but you can pause the screen and see those settings. And the star of the show, I think, is that Valhalla shimmer here. Yeah. So turn that on and hey, appreciate it, Jason. And then with the shimmer. Whoop. Thing's nasty, man. And I love these, the Valhalla. They're super affordable, man. I think like $50. So that was the intro, and that was going to the intro vocal verb. So we also have, so it has the shimmer, but it's also going to the intro vocal verb, which was right here. Another Valhalla, but vintage verb. and long, just long decaying, 7 seconds, and taking just how does that need to fit into the track? And so less lows, top, I'm just hunting for what I want that to sound like there. Let's hear without the EQ and see if you guys can hear a difference in the intro verb. Versus yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Sounds good either way. Cool. Wasn't super thick or anything. What else is on the horizon for these? Okay, I tell you what. Let's talk about the template a little bit. Those of you guys who are new, if you want to get your hands on my template, you can check out the links in the description. And I got some courses. I call them programs now. Courses, the programs that I'm selling have multiple courses within them. And so we've got modern rock, we've got worship, and we have gospel. And then we're going to have pop and all kinds of stuff soon. But as my voice cracks like a teenager. But yeah, check that out. And then also I've been mixing on headphones for a very long time. And I'll teach you how to do it in my guide in the description. The ultimate guide to mixing on headphones. If you pick it up now, it's free. But if you download it, I've got an update coming. Hopefully this weekend, if not next week, I'm updating my headphones guide to show you exactly what I'm doing nowadays. And I think you'll learn a ton from that. I also will teach you my frequency-focused referencing tip and trick technique, whatever you want to call it. Frequency-focused referencing, the best, absolute best strategy mixing technique that you can use right away today. Go pull up your latest mix, and you'll improve it drastically by using this technique. And as soon as you join my email list, it sends you a free video, and it walks you through how to do everything. And I call it the low-end trick. You can probably find the video on YouTube as well. But anyways, that stuff. Let's take a look at the template. You got drums, you got bass, you got keys, guitars, vocals. All of this leads downhill to the mix bus, essentially, is this folder. And so what I do is I send, and let's see, it was Apollo Joy asking about stereo width. This is not just going to apply to vocals, but check this out. So by doing this, and I stole this from Dave Pensato years and years ago, I expanded upon it. I've done some different things with it and added. I got Bob Horn's mix A, B, and C kind of here, doing a little different. But long story short, all the vocals in the session, lead vocals, background vocals, anything vocals is going to go to the all vocals bus. Typically, it's just the virtual mix bus, and I'll dial in my gain staging. I'll hit this pretty hard. Typically, this will be pegged, if not red light fever, blinking at me. And if I don't hear distortion, I leave it alone. But if I do, I'll back it off. So that's usually there. And then for some reason here, I felt like I needed to high pass, and I did it globally. And I don't know, this may have been a last minute thing. Like I heard some low end energy and I was like, gotta get rid of that. And so I just did that. This is not common for me at all, or to compress against it here. It was very much probably a last minute move. But the vocals go to the all vocals bus. Drums, kick, snare, toms go to this bus. Not the hi-hat, not the ride, not the rooms, not the overheads. I do parallel compression for the center channel, essentially, with the toms as well. But I'm just compressing the snot out of these often. And so I have them go to their own bus, so I can do that if I choose to. In this song, I didn't. But when I compress the hat, the ride, the overhead, the room mics, I do that at the track level more so. Whereas here, I'll still compress the kick and the snare, but at the all drums bus, I'm going to smash them together typically. And so that's why I break them out and don't include the metal of the kit. The cymbals and stuff, they get really weird and washy and harsh when you compress them super hard and end up chasing with EQ. So I break them out separately. It's a little weird to see that here, but anyway, so then the drum crush, drum distortion. We'll get to the stereo imaging, I promise. So here's percussion. Anything percussion could go there. Congas, shaker, tambourine, all that stuff. Low end, bass, it could be sub drops, whatever. The low end energy in the track is going to go here. And again, that's typically just VMR. All music bus. This is where we're going to start talking about stereo imaging. This is where, in my template, this is still the version 10. I got to upgrade and put, oh no, there we go. So my version 11. This is an older song, so it had version 10 in here. But by default, my template, I just push everything 40% out. And then that may come down a little bit depending upon the song. It may go up a little bit. And then I'm often automating an additional jump out wide for the chorus or any section where it needs to be big. And so I'll do a volume jump, I'll do a width, push it out a little wider, but I only do it to the all music bus, which gets the guitars, the keys, acoustics, synths, pads, whatever. Anything that's not vocals, drums, percussion, low end, right? These elements. And so there now, the stuff that I'm hard panning left and right is getting pushed out even more. And then I can automate that as well. And so now you get this wider stereo image without smearing the center channel of your kick, your snare, your vocal. I still do sometimes use stereo imaging on stuff like, not the kick probably as much, but bass totally have, vocals all the time. And so those are getting treated at the track level, like we just showed for some of the modulation effects. And then the music stuff is really what's getting pushed out and giving you the impression of that wider mix. Cool. And then high end is your cymbals, and it could be this sizzly, what do you call them? Like reverse sounds and all that kind of stuff. And you hear in like EDM, that's sizzly stuff, right? That could go there. Hat, ride, cymbals, all that goes there as well. All effects, pretty self-explanatory. Delays, reverbs, all of that goes here. And then these buses, I call them the all buses. Those buses come down and feed mix A, which is where it hits the 2-bus parallel compression. We talked about that in the last video. You can go look at that. And we talked about this new thing I'm doing here, learning from my man Joey Fernandez, hanging out in the chat, probably still with us, but Grammy-winning mastering engineer, one of my best friends, and he recently mastered something I mixed and just cracked the code, man, of what is going on in my mixes with my kick and snare especially. I very much have a pop, hip-hop background for in my time in the studio, working in professional studios. That's a lot of what came in. And so I have that mentality. I love that sound of a hard-hitting kick drum that's isolated almost. And so I find that often I'm mixing that way for live band stuff. I mean, I've mixed live stuff for 20 years as well, but that's just something I took into the way that I mix, was coming from that pop world. And it's not always good. It doesn't always feel cohesive or gelled when I mix like that. And this right here, the Pro MB compressing against the center channel, it's just the mid band here. You can see you're doing mid-side compression. And then I even backed it off 50%, but go watch the last stream and you'll see a whole series where I talk and show that off. So what did we talk about? Stereo imaging. This allows me to go for a wider mix without smearing the center stuff. But then the vocals, whenever I want them to be, we'll show that. If I hear that I want wide vocals, I'll add wide effects. We'll do the stereo dimension D, or do some imaging or multiband imaging, all kinds of stuff we can do with it. But usually the stacks is coming, or the effect of width is coming from the stacks. And so here's that vocal just down the middle again. Cool. So we got the effect a little bit on the delay, the dark delay, but that's in solo. You're not really going to hear much of that at that particular section in the track. But then you get stuff like this, vocal stacks. Not what I thought it was. I thought that was a double. This is the double. So if we solo those two together,
Elfáradt de nem érdekel, megyek előre, én magam fajta, nem térdepel, nem térdepel.
Cool, so I use this every single mix. 2 guitars are better than 1. I used to use the stock delay and just do the Haas effect, basically taking and creating fake stereo from a single mono source. If I bypass this, you'll hear it's just a single vocal. I thought it was a single. Actually, yeah, it is a single vocal, but it's going through. So we got to turn all this off and you'll hear it. Let's see. It's still getting some effects, but nonetheless, you can hear that it's down the middle there. And then now with this. Oh, I left this one on. That's what the problem was. Okay, cool. I was like, I'm tripping looking at my my effects, wondering how I've got these routed. So the stack, the double, throwing that out wide, and then that can thicken and widen the vocal. You get, I don't want to talk about collapsing in mono too much. You can, maybe you should. I don't know. I never really have. One of my early mentors was Dave Pensado, and he made a comment on one of the early shows. What did he say? He said he felt like mixing in mono was a lot like making movies or TV shows for black and white TV, and that the majority of us are hearing things in stereo. You got your AirPods, your systems, our phones are stereo now. There's still an argument to be made for checking to make sure your mix doesn't fall apart. You know, your grocery stores, I'm sure there's other. I don't know. There's other instances. Your speakers, the Bluetooth speakers and stuff like that. You want to make sure it sounds good in mono as well. But that's not something that I've ever been overly concerned with or obsessed over checking to make sure something sits well in mono. It's not a bad idea. It's just not something I've done or spent a ton of time doing. So let's see. What are we looking at next? Forgive me, the tracks are usually more organized and labeled, but this was... Let's go and talk about some of these dubs here. Stacks. Let's just hit the vocal.
Áradtam az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem. Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen, minden fájó emléket megértettem.
Yeah, I can feel the low end rumble. I don't know where it's coming from, but cool. So this one, hook, let's talk about these. We'll show the processing here. Right on. So we're high passing, cutting lows, pulling forward 2K, and tons of top end. Hitting compression, yep. Stages. Let's hear that. Here's with nothing. And then with our EQ, a little cleaner. Often I say that the first EQ move that I make is trying to shape it to, if I were the tracking engineer, maybe how I would have done it or how I would have wanted that vocal to sound before it came to me as the mixer is often my first EQ move. And that helps me kind of separate the thinking of like shaping the sound for it to like fit better in a mix versus actually mixing. And so the first EQ for me is just thinking like, hey, how can I clean this up a little bit and get a big win? And right there you can see how we did that. Next up, we have our compression, 1176, medium attack. I mean, it's still a fast attack, but and then parallel again with the distressor. Not even really doing anything. The first one as a distressor was not, so that's just bad gain staging on my part, but it worked out because... Let's see here. We had the compressor bringing back some of the lows, and I was like, we got to clean that up even more. So now we're mixing, right? So the first one was cleaning it up. Now we're like, let's put this in the track. And again, this is a supporting section of vocals. I don't want it to have very much mid. I wanted this to, back to Apologize, question about stereo width. I didn't want wide vocals to be full bodied. I wanted them to enhance almost like an exciter, the Aphex, the Waves, oral exciter, something like that, where it gave it that like high-end energy and sizzle, but only on the sides. So let's hear how that kind of, what that turns into. One more time, here's the raw. And then where we're at so far. That's harsh for sure. We'll see how it sounds in the mix. We got to make sure we check context, but in solo, it's not pleasing. Here's our delay. And then that goes into a verb, and we got both of those dialed in. Okay, and there's no de-esser or anything on here. In solo, I certainly feel like it needs it. Let's check it in context. If you de-ess that, you're going to take away what's standing out. What's cutting through is that like ultra top-end thing. And I'm not getting that it's harsh. Sure, it could be warmer. Maybe it could dial it back a bit. But in context matters, right? We got to always make sure that we're looking. Let's back that up a little bit and we'll compare it.
Elfáradtam az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem. Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen, minden fájó emléket megértettem. Elfáradtam az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem. Megtanultam.
So we have all these ad-libs going through that same thing, just providing that ambiance behind the lead vocal, who's very much up front, but then the stacks are surrounding her and giving ambience. Okay, cool. Next up, we have these three, and those are our hook stacks.
Elfáradtam az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem.
I don't know. What do you think? Could we extend the decay of the reverb a little bit? That's crazy. That's way too long of a sustain. I don't know. I was mixing quick or something there. Let's turn off our processing and let's hear what we got.
Elfáradtam az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor vétkeztem. Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen, minden fájó emléket megértettem.
And I guess I don't know if I had that on or not. I'm like, gotta give you a disclaimer. Gotta check the records here and see. I don't know if that's just in there. Let's hear it.
Elfáradtam az életben, csak az Isten tudja, hányszor végeztem. Megtanultam, nincsen
Yeah, it's genius. It sounds great. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. Cool. So that's a long decay time to just let vocals be, but in the track, it doesn't bother me. So we're going to leave that. Cool. So we're just breaking this down. I'm trying to think if you guys see anything that I haven't talked about. Here's one with all the CLA. No, we talked about that. That's our reverse reverb. We got it out here also. Let's hear it out here.
Másoknak fáj, ha vidámnak látnak.
Miért fáj, miért fáj, miért fáj, miért fáj.
Az élet egy útjába tekintek vissza a virágnak, lefele hullik a szírma, míg
Yeah, that's nasty. And then out here.
lelkem csillanása, győzelem a kitartás igazsága. A szeretlek önmagában semmit.
It's nasty, man. I just wanted to go all out. I think it was, I don't know if it was Jason Joshua or someone that I think Joey recommended I listen to a few things, and I heard the vocal effects. I just got inspired, man. Started layering and adding all kinds of plugins to try to get something cool. Let's talk about this one then. Let's hear.
Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen. Megtanultam, nincs véletlen.
I don't like that.
Semmit nem ér, semmit nem ér.
Megtanultam.
Because that one is automated at the intro. Let's do something with this. We'll do this together.
Semmit nem ér.
Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen.
It's muddy. Okay. We're just going to start fresh so we have a clear canvas here for what we're listening to.
Semmit nem ér.
Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen. Megtanultam, nincs véletlen.
Nem ér.
Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen. Megtanultam, nincs véletlen.
Nem ér.
Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen. Megtanultam, nincs.
You know what it needs is our world's best de-esser. Let's try this out.
Nem ér.
Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen. Megtanultam, nincs véletlen.
what I heard there was the top end of the vocal, the really high stuff, was it just had too much, too tacky, too pointy. And so dialing the threshold in to try to grip on those a little bit. I want to hear it again with
Semmit nem ér, semmit nem ér.
Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen, megtanultam.
Okay. This is a pretty intimate little section here. We want to make sure.
Semmit nem ér.
Well, zooming in just revealed that I've heard this and tried to address this before. You can clearly see that I've got some fades, trying to fade in the transient here for some of those to really tame them. Let's hear that.
Megtanultam, megtanultam, nincsen. Megtanultam, megtanultam.
And then here's what it was before the fades
Megtanultam, megtanultam.
with the fades. Oh no! Undo.
Megtanultam, megtanultam.
So taming those quite a bit. Some manual labor of love for this one. And then let's hear with and without that what we just did.
Megtanultam, megtanultam. Megtanultam, megtanultam, nincsen véletlen. Megtanultam, megtanultam, nincs véletlen.
I've got an idea. I've got like an evil plan here. Let's see if we can make this sound amazing. Let's go. We're going to send the copy, pre-fader. We're going to mute it. Could have just duplicated the track. And yeah, for the whole section here. And then we want the mute. So we're going to actually have it. So we got a copy of the vocal right now. So if we solo this and mute it
Megtanultam.
and send this to the correct spot.
Megtanultam, megtanultam.
Yeah, so it's muted, but we're hearing the copy. And so we got a full signal of that.
Megtanultam.
So now what we're going to do is see about put some, yeah, we'll leave the distortion too. Okay, saturation, and then
Megtanultam, megtanultam, nincsen véletlen. Megtanultam, nincs véletlen.
okay.
Megtanultam, megtanultam, nincsen véletlen.
So what I'm doing is I'm having to play with getting a feel for how the frequencies are responding to the different filters and where I've got my, and then I'm just clicking and dragging to think it through, and then I'm going to try to automate this. So now with the lead vocal and this duplicate,
Megtanultam.
okay, so how are we going to...
Megtanultam, megtanultam, nincsen véletlen. Megtanultam, megtanultam, nincs véletlen.
I don't know if this is going to sound good, but we're going to give it a shot.
Megtanultam, megtanultam, nincsen véletlen. Megtanultam, megtanultam, nincs véletlen.
Okay, so now We need more. Sometimes more is better. I'm going to automate that EQ, but for now, let's throw...
Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen. Megtanultam,
Okay, and then in context is when I'm going to automate it. So now we have a good level. Put it in touch mode. Well, we have to do this. We're going to just automate everything on here. So I'm holding all three modifier keys in Pro Tools, Command, Option, and Control. And then I'm going to click right there, and I enabled it already, but disable's right there. And it'll disable all the automation parameters, or you can go to individual parameters. So if I come here and just wanted to automate the frequency, I could do that. But we'll put all this back on. I think everything is cool. And then now we're grabbing...
Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen. Megtanultam, nincs véletlen. Elfáradtam.
Okay, stage 1 complete. And then we're gonna pull it down to here.
Megtanultam, nincsen véletlen. Megtanultam, nincs véletlen. Elfáradtam.
Too soon. Right there, it needs a cut. Ooh, it's flowing. Okay, so that's going to be off. Then what I need is this back on. Just grab all this. Let's just write it again. Messing with it here. Did it again. And then we'll fix that. Back here. Bam. Sorry, it's not probably the most entertaining stream ever, but hopefully you guys are learning something. Let me know in the chat if you guys are still hanging out. How many we got hanging out? Let me know, man, if you guys are enjoying this. Get rid of that. Okay, and then she's dipping like crazy there. Is this the only vocal part? And then this one's going to all vocal, so we can just, let's use clip gain here and get this signal. Might get a little pop on that. We'll fix it. Let's see how that feels. I don't know. What I hear in my head, it's not bad. It's not like horrible execution, but it's a little weird to build that up and then it just drops. She either needs it. Let's try boosting her a lot. Yeah, okay. It's so weird that I have an idea again with this, but right here, let's go up and grab where the kick drops, do a quick marker, back down to the vocal right here. And on the marker, this may be a horrible fail. What am I thinking there? What am I thinking? No, it's a great idea. Okay. I'm going to put a delay that just goes crazy on that one line, on the one with, and so it's got to be crazy, but it's still got to have some of the lead vocal in it. Feedback's all right. I mean, this is a great delay. Let's just go ahead and turn it right there, and then we're going to turn it on the one so that it almost kind of creates a pop and shoots delay out everywhere. Let's see what happens. Oh, no. Wrong way. We want marker to here, and we want it, so turn it off and then turn it on. Cool. Okay, it's got to be quicker. So we want, let's do not what I was going for. Let's go 16th and dotted 16th. Let's try that. We'll turn the flutter and stuff off for now. Is it modulating? Said that weird. Modulating? Is it modulating? No. Amount, diffusion, off, size. Shouldn't matter. It's all 0. Drive, age. I wonder if it's the age. No, it's that. So I'll make it 8th again. I don't know what's going on. That's not giving me what I want. So we're going to go to a stock delay before maybe the BBD. It'll delete the auto. Yeah, change that. That's fine. Turn it on. Let's dial in the sound first. So in solo. Sorry, a little boring. Hang with me. I promise. I think it's gonna be cool. Mix knob, yeah. We want stereo. Yeah, ping pong. Let's go H delay. I think will work. Is there a mix knob on? Yeah, of course there is. I don't use this one often, but I know we got a good ping pong from it. So let's just do that. We'll throw, that's fine. We'll throw some modulation. I like a lot of depth on a light rate, a small rate, up to like 20 maybe. You go over 30 or so, and then I'll go down on the depth. But 15 to 20 is cool. And then how much feedback? Let's crank on it. Why is it pitch shifting? I don't know what I'm doing that's causing pitch shifting. Maybe I just chose the wrong one. Let's just go to a stock delay where I don't. Okay, so right now it's still mono. We're going to fix that by just slightly changing the timing. And we're going to go faster. 8th, dotted 8th. Some depth, barely. Yep, pull that back a bit. Okay, and then feedback. And then we need more feedback on the left, less on the right to even them out a bit. Bypass, enable. Go to our marker. That's a 1 on the kick drum. And we're gonna, so it's off and then it's on for that split second. Oh, and then it's on the track, so I'm not sending, so I gotta let that ride. Otherwise it's gonna do what it just did. Cool, so we'll pull that out just for ideally, I would have sent that to its own track, and then I could have thinned it out and then automated it up and all kinds of cool stuff with it, but I failed to do that. So let's see if we can. I think we're just going to walk away from it a little bit, let it be. But this is kind of a look inside here of when I'm thinking stacking and I hear something, just go for it. It's okay. It's not like, best delay throw ever, but pretty cool. Cam Aaron Records said that this last reverse vocal was amazing. Dude, I appreciate that, man. Steal it. Take that shimmer. That thing's a beast. Cool. So let's hear that section now. You can get so fixated on just like that one line or effect or whatever. Back up, put it in context, and listen to the song as a song and not a delay throw. You know what I mean? Very cool. I think it needs to come up in volume right here. Sounds pretty cool, man. And so to do that, you'll see me adjusting my headphone level when I'm looking to see if something's standing out or standing out, pokey. I'll turn the volume down and listen at a lower level and see what's happening compared to when it's cranked. When it's cranked, you can things sound better. It can be a little even when it's not. So, all right, did we miss anything with these vocals? We looked at the stacks, we looked at that. We have a bus there. We talked about those, the processing for this, the automation. We looked at the breaths and how we've ducked each of them. We showed some of that when the transient was too pokey. You saw here that I went in and faded into. So just kind of pulled the transient back for the start of the phrases. Also could have sped up the attack on the compressor. I'd imagine that I tried that and still was getting something from it, and so I went back and did that. So might have been creating more work for myself there by hitting it with so much compression, but I like that forward sound that it was giving us, a spitty effect. So kind of trade-offs and stuff you gotta keep in mind. But all right, cool. So lead vocal, check. I think that's about it. And with that, we're moving in. There's obviously some like automation and stuff, little bits here and there. The delay I turned off completely at the end so it stopped spilling. Sweet. And there was like did I add a harmony part or did she sing one? I'm not seeing where that's coming from, but I tell you what, when we look at the next video, I'll see if I can find it off camera, and then we're going to break down David Baltavari, his hip-hop vocal, the stacks, the effects. I got some pretty cool stuff here. I'll give you a teaser for the next video. We got stuff like this happening. Like it's some magical thing or something, but it's a cool effect. Check it in the track. So we'll break down all this processing, how we're compressing, limiting, tuning, all that good stuff. Effects, some pretty cool stuff there on the next one. But hey, if you guys have been with me, let me know before I end the stream if you guys have any questions, anything you want me to go back over or recap while I wait for you guys to answer and catch up with where I'm at here. yeah, the free headphones guide. Check that out. Links in the description. Some free stuff to help you make better mixes. And then if you want to work with me, hire me to mix, all that information is down there in the description. So we'll give this another minute. I'm going to look one more time at that. So it really is just his vocal and then talking about the mixing / mastering final stages. And this one will be a wrap. So, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me. For those of you watching live, if you're watching back, would love to see you. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Just crossed over 18,000 subs, but I've changed the direction of the channel. We're going to be doing a ton of gospel worship and the likes of Bethel, Hillsong, The Belonging Co., all that kind of stuff. Tons of that to come on the channel. And then we'll still be mixing pop, rock, everything inside the membership, but that's where it's going to probably be mostly, and the rest is going to be on YouTube as worship and gospel. Niche it down and see if the algorithm can't even talk, will be a little more kind to me here. But appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out. And with that, I think we're going to wrap it up, and we'll see you on the next one.